and I am a coach with First Mile Care, and I'm based in Sugar Land, Texas. So it's nice to meet all of you virtually. Today, we're going to talk about how to stay on track with your fitness during the holidays. So let's talk about, how do you celebrate your holidays? Birthdays, anniversaries, special holidays like Hanukkah, Christmas, Thanksgiving, weddings, and job promotion. I want to open this up to the group. How do you celebrate your holidays? Anyone first? Want to go first? Well, I know for me personally, a lot of times they're celebrated and focused around food. Birthdays often involve birthday cake, same thing with anniversaries are usually associated with having dinner at a fancy restaurant. Christmas and Thanksgiving, even Hanukkah can have some food associated with those celebrations. We know that weddings and all of the preparation associated with weddings are centered around food as well. What about you? How do you celebrate any of these special holidays? Do you have any special traditions that you share? Yes, yes. Food is always a part of it. I know that some people have specific things that they do to share in these particular holidays. So there'll be like maybe pie baking contest, a gingerbread house contest. For weddings, you have to go on cake tastings and things like that. So it is, as you said before, centered around food and centered around eating. Eating is just much more than just nutrition. For many people, it is actually associated and a part of our culture, a part of how we live. We use food to celebrate. Okay. That's great. That's our culture. That's how we're brought up. The question though is we want to make that connection between what we eat and why we should exercise. Okay. Because the purpose of First Mile Care is to teach us how to prevent type 2 diabetes. And there are 3 things that we can do to prevent type 2 diabetes. And one of them is by changing and modifying our lifestyle, by what we eat, also exercising, and as well as medication therapy. But the goal is to not have to go to medication therapy, but our goal is actually to modify our lifestyle so that we will not have to utilize medication. So basically, this screen is talking to you about the importance of why we should exercise. We know that chronic illness is found highly across the world. We've seen in the outset of COVID that the greater risk of someone having a chronic illness would heighten the risk of someone having COVID. Exercise can help us to have weight control. I love the fact that exercise releases chemicals in our brain that cause us to feel good and have euphoria and to give us happiness and feelings of joy. As we age, the risk of falling down and bone fractures and hip fractures increase. So exercise can serve as a deterrent to help us to decrease the risk of any type of hip replacement or knee replacement. It can almost serve as like just a barrier against those type of events. It makes our bones more dense. And also it improves our longevity and mental acuity. So often our memory is improved as we exercise. Our ability to recall things can be improved as we exercise. And often our lives are extended the more we exercise. So it's not just for type 2 diabetes prevention. Exercise should be a part of our life to improve the quality of our entire lives. Oftentimes, after I exercise, I feel so much better prior to when I started. So I can definitely agree and attest to that it definitely has a positive benefit on my mental health. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about fit and what fit involves, because remember, we're talking about how to stay on track with holidays and how to maintain physical fitness throughout the holidays. We know that the holidays are going to be consistent, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Easter. Those holidays are consistent every single year. So we're already anticipating that they're going to be holidays where we're going to eat, where we're going to enjoy our family, where most often we might be sedentary because we're sitting down having conversations. We're not necessarily doing anything that is organized physically. And so because of that, it's great to have a plan in place to help us to maintain a level of physical fitness, even though we're getting into the mode where we're sitting down, we're watching football games, we're having conversation. we may not be doing things that are as physically, that requires much physical exertion as when we're not celebrating a holiday. A point I want to bring up here is that um, exercise is so vital in lowering our risk of type 2 diabetes, resistance training, which is the weightlifting component, as well as cardiovascular. But the thing about it is that if we go 5 to 7 days without physical exercise, our body can lose some of that insulin sensitivity that we gain through exercise. So consistency is very important. It's good to not just exercise consistently for 2 weeks and then when Christmas holiday comes, we decide to stop. We want to maintain a level of fitness throughout that time and try not to have too many spots in between where we're not working out. Let's talk about FIT. So FIT stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type. Frequency is the type of exercise you're doing. Frequency is how often you're doing the exercise. So our goal at First Mile Care is to encourage at least 150 minutes of physical activity every week or more. So that is doing some type of physical activity every day, at least 30 minutes or more. Intensity is how much you're exerting yourself during the exercise. And the scale to the right will show you an example. This is called the rate of perceived exertion scale. And it'll let you know the level of exercise, the intensity that you are currently conducting your exercise. So if Miss Catherine and I are going for a walk with her dog, and she and I can keep up a really good conversation, I may not be exerting myself as hard as I can. So we may be considered 2 to 3. So when you are maybe adding a jog, like you're allowing your dog to kind of jog a little faster and you're running behind your dog, that might be considered moderate to vigorous, okay? If your dog sees another dog that it wants to be friends with and it takes off running after that dog, that would be considered very hard to max effort ratings of perceived exertion. So this is just a great skill to kind of give you an idea of the intensity with which you're working out. When you're at the gym, if you're going for a walk, if you're doing something that's not necessarily measuring your heart rate. Time, how long you're exercising. And again, we're encouraging 150 minutes per week or more of physical activity. And then the type. Now, this is important here because, you're going to talk about whether you're doing cardiovascular exercise, resistance training, stretching, yoga. All of those different types of exercises will allow for a different level of intensity, okay? So we may be able to do cardiovascular exercise for 10, 15 minutes, but we may only be able to do resistance training for 5. A yoga class, we may be able to work out for a full hour. It just depends on your own personal level, your own personal ability to work out, your own personal ability to exercise. Okay, any questions here? Has anyone ever seen this scale before and or used it when assessing their intensity levels? Okay, so this is, like I said, a really good scale, easy to understand, to kind of give you an idea of your intensity. And so when you're exercising, you want to kind of try to work out, start at 2 and 3, and then work your way up to like a 7 to 9, on intensity level, based on your own personal ability. And if you start out at light and you stay there, that's perfectly fine. And then over time, as your strength builds, you can increase the level of intensity with which you work out. Okay. So next we want to talk about prevention. So why are we talking about this? Why are we taking time to discuss it? It's because our goal at First Mile Care, my goal as a coach, is to lower the risk of type 2 diabetes in the United States of America, in the nation, in the world, especially amongst my community. And so why is that important? Prevention is the goal. That's the whole purpose of our program, is to teach you tips and tools on how to prevent type 2 diabetes. And we do that through glycemic control. Okay, so glycemic control is where we have sugar in our body that is used to distribute to various cells throughout our body to give our body the physical ability to do the activities of daily living. If that sugar flows over into our bloodstream, our insulin may not work as well and unfortunately cause damage to our internal organs. So exercise is a key component in helping our bodies to control our blood sugar. And also exercise is critical in helping our body become more sensitive to the insulin that's on the inside of our body. Exercise assists in moving the sugar, as I said previously, to the muscle cells and keeping it out of the bloodstream where it can cause potential damage to our vital organs over time. When we are looking at physical exercise, and we're looking at type 2 diabetes prevention, and when we're looking at weight loss, this is the most important thing at the bottom. You want to look at your calorie content versus how much physical activity you engage in on a regular basis. So you want to make sure that physical activity is a regular part of your life, at least 150 minutes or more, and that you're keeping in mind of your calorie content, how much food you're taking in. This is something that we talk about in our classes, that oftentimes when we're eating, we may not pay attention that much to how many calories something has in what we're eating. And so it's always good to kind of pay attention and use the nutrition facts label on the back of your food to give you some insight as far as to how much you're taking in, because oftentimes we're often taking in more than we realize. And then we wonder, like, why is my body not changing? You know, why am I still experiencing weight gain? Why is my risk of type 2 diabetes not lowering? So using those nutrition facts label that we teach you in class will help you, give you insight on how much calories you're taking in. Any questions here? Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, so we're going to talk about the fitness goals during the holidays. So my encouragement when we are working out during the holidays is to always have fun. We don't want it to be grueling or something that we have to do like a burden. You want fitness to be fun. There is something that everyone likes to do to get their heart rate up. And so whatever that is, whatever activity that is, that's what we want to focus on doing. Okay, so finding something that you like to do. Some people enjoy bowling. Some people enjoy gardening, volleyball, basketball, taking a walk with friends, anything. You want to find something that you enjoy. So can anyone share with me what are some physical activities that they like to do that are considered fun for them that they don't even think about when they're doing it? I think that when we find things that we like to do, it's not necessarily exercising. It's just me doing something that I enjoy that has an additional benefit to my body. So what about inviting others? Are there any activities that you like to do that you like to do in a group that you like to invite others to do? That would be something that's fun. So then we can all do it together. We can all get the benefit. So if you are someone who likes live Christmas trees, going to find a Christmas tree, cutting it down, loading up into your car, that's a group activity. If you like to go look at Christmas lights, you know, instead of driving, you can park your car and walk. So you want to find things that you like to do that you want to invite other people into. I like to dance. So I like to get people involved with dance challenges and doing fun things, you know, as far as dancing. Dancing always makes me smile. So it's not only like a physical activity, it becomes like a mental health boost because I'm having a good time. Number 3, we want to make movement a priority by moving multiple times a day. And so this one is really critical that I want to put a pin here, because oftentimes, you know, when you're in the holidays and people are visiting, well, not this year, but in a normal year, people would visit from house to house, or you would sit down and, you know, watch a game all day or watch a movie. The goal is to move as much as you can. So if you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, you can march in place while you're cooking. You know, you can step tap, you can do a little bit of a dance while you're in the kitchen preparing your meal. If you decide to go and volunteer somewhere, that's another opportunity to move around. When you're at home, and if you can't go anywhere, I heard California is now on another lockdown, you can't go anywhere. Within your home, you can move from room to room, you know, just travel from side to side, front to back, from the bathroom to the kitchen and back. If you have a backyard, walk outside and come back. The goal is to just spend less of our time sitting down and spend more of our time moving as much as we can. If you have to go to the grocery store, if you have access to go to the grocery store, where a recommendation is to walk around the store one time prior to getting your groceries. So you can get a little bit of extra steps in that way as well. Another thing is to be patient. Sometimes when you have a goal and you're trying to reach it, there can be many things that can deter you. So for example, Miss Catherine sharing that she's not able to go to the Y, she's on the wait list to use the lap pool. If there's a weather concern that you can't go outside because of snow or, whatever, you want to be patient and to not give up, to try to find alternate ways to move around. So oftentimes people say, well, Shavon, I don't really have time to do that. I'm so busy. I have this, I have all these different things, and I understand that. So what I encourage people to do is during a commercial time, try to repeat those exercises during a commercial if you're watching a television show. If you're going to go outside to the grocery store or to run an errand, try to get in a few steps before you actually do your grocery shopping or your errands. Engage and drive other people to participate with you. You don't have to go at it alone. You're more successful when you engage other people with you in your journey to increase your physical activity. And remember that there's no perfection, just progression. So if currently you don't have any physical activity, the goal is to just start doing small bouts of activity throughout the day. So if our goal is 30 minutes today, we can do 3 bouts of 10 minutes or 6 bouts of 5 minutes. You just want to make sure that you're moving as much as you can every day. Okay? That's it. That's my presentation. And so remember you all, the goal is just to move more in general for your whole life. And it's not about just during the holiday time. It's just as a lifestyle. In my opinion, lifestyle changes are made as you do them consistently, not only for a specific time period. I often talk to different people, potential clients, and they want to obtain these massive goals within a short period of time, but that's often not sustainable. But a lifestyle can change when we do things sustainable. Lifestyle change is sustainable when we do small things over time. That's how results come. Small changes over time. Consistency with that. That's how we'll see the changes. And let me just say that you all inspire me, that you are physically active and moving and healthy. That is very, very inspirational. So keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And whenever you're able to take up the intensity, do that. If you're able to increase your time, do that. And never forget the importance of encouraging and bringing others in with you on your journey, because it can definitely make it a little bit easier.